This is a quick overview of what I will be talking about on the next slides in regards to the short-term assessment. We selected writing responses from the passage A Chance for Freedom. I will then talk about the QAR strategy poster, the graphic organizer on making inferences with question-answer relationships, the paragraph builder, the rubric for QAR inferencing graphic organizer, the short response 2-point rubric, and lastly, the extended response 4-point rubric. When creating our short-term assessment, we first made sure to address our learner-centered problem, which was students struggled to identify details within a text when drawing inferences in order to develop a main idea or theme of a text. After brainstorming different ideas, we finally decided to use writing responses for this assessment, as it is an authentic method to assess students' understanding. We selected this strategy poster from readwritethink.org. The purpose of this poster is to help remind students of the QAR strategy and how to answer these types of questions. We selected this graphic organizer as it is simple and easy to navigate for students. Students will practice using the QAR strategy to answer different multiple choice questions as well as plan out the answer to a short or extended response question. And this can be used both independently or in small groups. As with our other graphic organizers, we made sure to select a paragraph builder that was student-friendly. The purpose of this paragraph builder is to help students compose their extended and short responses. This method is an excellent tool to utilize as it explicitly teaches students the importance of supporting their writing with evidence from the text. When developing our short response questions, we made sure to refer back to our learner-centered problem to make sure it aligns. Since our learner-centered problem was students struggle to identify details within a text when drawing inferences in order to develop a main idea or theme of a text, we chose questions that would allow students to employ these strategies. For example, question 1 is a right there question. But to answer it, the student still needs to interpret the information and use details in his or her written response. Question 2 is an author and me question, which is a higher order thinking question and also addresses the Common Core State standards for authors' crafts. When creating this rubric, we decided that there were 3 main criteria we should evaluate students on: identifying QAR, textual information, and background knowledge. We then clearly outlined what each score would look like and had the values increase from left to right. We decided to evaluate students' short responses using a 2-point holistic rubric from the Educator Guide to the 2015 Grade 5 Common Core English Language Arts Test. This rubric focuses on both the inference and evidence a student provides. This structure allows students to have a wide latitude in responding to each prompt so long as their response is supported by the text. Additionally, the expectation for all short responses will be complete, coherent sentences. By weaving these elements together, the questions, responses, and scores remain firmly focused on student reading ability. We also selected our extended response rubric from the Grade 5 2015 Common Core English Language Arts Test. The first 2 criteria relate directly to our learner-centered problem, so we thought this rubric was an especially good fit. This extended rubric follows a 4-point system that evaluates students on their content and analysis, command of evidence, coherence, organization, and style, and control of conventions. This is an overview of one of our medium-term assessments. As you can see, we decided to evaluate students using in-house questions and writing responses. We strategically chose the texts Bad Robot and At the Office, so students would be provided with a range of text difficulties. We also utilized a paragraph builder, 2-point short response rubric, and a 4-point extended response rubric. We felt in-house questions and writing prompts were appropriate to use as our medium-term assessment because students would be able to practice using textual evidence to support their written answers. To frame the assessment, we selected these multiple choice questions that aligned with our learner-centered problem on identifying details and using textual evidence to support conclusions. Again, when formulating our short response questions, we made a conscientious effort to make sure it aligned with our learner-centered problem. Both of these questions require students to use evidence from the text to support their answers. We were also mindful to connect our learner-centered problem with our extended response questions. As a result, all of the questions we chose involve students using details from the passage to support conclusions.